Assalamu alaikum, my dear students, and welcome to the lecture of Information Technology for Standard 11. This is the second chapter of your syllabus, Introduction to Java Database Management System. Now, this is my 14th lecture, which is in continuation of the previous lecture. In previous lecture, we have already studied about Database Management System, that is Dbms. Now today we are going to see Relational Database Management System, the introduction of Relational Database Management System, Rdbms, where R means relational, Rdbms means Relational Database Management System. So we will see introduction of Relational Database Management System, that is Rdbms. So starting with Rdbms, what do you mean by Rdbms? Rdbms stands for Relational Database Management System. In Rdbms or Relational Database Management System, a database is considered as a collection of interrelated data. That means in one database you can save the interrelated tables. Okay, you can save multiple tables which are linked with each other. So these tables are called as interrelated tables. Okay, so you can store the data which are interrelated to each other in the table. Okay, a relational database management system, that is Rdbms, is a database management system that is based on the relational model. The relational model we have already discussed about it in our last lecture. So the relational database management system is based on relational model, where relational model consists of a table, row, record, tuple, right? These are the components of database management system. So what do you mean by Rdbms? Rdbms stands for Relational Database Management System, and in one relational database management system you can store multiple tables which are related to each other. Okay, there is a relationship between the tables, that's why it is called as Relational Database Management System. In these related tables you can store the data which are interrelated with each other. I hope you have understood this concept of Rdbms. Now what is Rdbms? A Relational Database Management System has the following major components. What are the components of Rdbms? So first component is table, another one is record, or you can say the tuple. Okay, third one is field or column or attribute. Fourth one is keys. Okay, these are four major components of Rdbms. Now we will see one by one. First we will see the structure of a table. Okay, this is the structure of a table. Okay, in a table, the table is also called as a relation. This picture we have already seen in our last lecture. Okay, so a table is also called as a relation. Now there are different columns. The columns are called as field or attribute. Okay, and these are the rows, or you can say the tuple or record of this table. Okay, this is the record of customer ID 1, this is the record of customer ID 2, this is the record of customer ID 3, and these are the fields, and the field names are customer ID, customer name, and status. These are the field names or attribute names. So in this table, when you create the table, at that time only you have to define the field name. Okay, you are supposed to define the field name during the creation of the table only, and there only you are supposed to define the data type of each field. That means what type of data you are going to insert, what type of record you are going to insert in the field. Okay, like in customer ID you are going to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the type of number, right? The data type of these are number. In customer name you are going to save the name. These are the text field, right? So the data type of this customer name is text. Now another one is status. What do you mean by status? What type of status you're going to insert in this table? You are going to insert text type of data, right? You are supposed to insert active, inactive in this. So here you are supposed to mention the data type as text only. So in field, while creating the table, you are supposed to specify the field and data type of the field. Okay, now next one is, what is table? What do you mean by a table? The data in Rdbms is stored in database object which are called as tables. Okay, whatever data you are going to store in Rdbms in a database, okay, are called as table. So this table is basically a collection of related tables. As we are talking about Rdbms, then we are supposed to insert the tables which are related to each other, right? So the tables is basically a collection of related table, okay, related data entries, and it consists of numerous columns and rows. Okay, in a table there are various columns and rows, and the data which you are going to insert in this table are related to each other. Okay, that means in one database you can store multiple tables which are related to each other. Okay, so a database consists of one or more tables according to which data is stored in a table. Okay, so accordingly you are supposed to insert the data in the table, and you can store one or more tables in one database. So database designer decides the name of the table and the title of the columns. While creating the table by using database create database command, at that time only you are supposed to specify the name of the table, right? Create table and then name of the table, and then in bracket you are supposed to mention the name of the column and the data type as well. So database designer decide the name of the table and the title of the column and the data type of the data which you are going to insert in the column. Correct? So these are the things which you are supposed to decide while creating the table only. Now this is one example. For example, the following table student stores the information of the student in database. The column names are roll number, student name, address and age, and the rows are roll number 1, Ajit, Delhi, 27. This is the record of roll number 1, this is the record of roll number 2, this is the third record, this is the fourth record, right? And the field names are roll number, student name, address and age. So a table is a combination of rows and columns. A table is a combination of rows and columns. Rows are called as record and columns are called as field. In one column you are supposed to store the similar data type of record. Similar type of record you are storing in one field. Like in roll number you are supposed to store only numbers. Here in student you are supposed to store only text type. Here again you are supposed to store only text type. Here you are supposed to insert the record in numbers, right? So the data type in every record is same for one field. Got it? Now next, what is row, record or tuple? So row is also called as record, row is also called as tuple. Okay, now what do you mean by row? Each row of a table is known as a record, correct? It is also known as a tuple. For example, the following row is a record that we have taken from the above table. See the row? This is the first row. Okay, row 1 represents the record of roll number 1. This is the row 1. Okay, which represents the record of roll number 1. This is the second row which represents the record of roll number 2. This is the third record which is representing the record of roll number 3. This is the fourth record which is representing the record of roll number 4. Got it? So what do you mean by a row? A row is also called as a tuple, or a row is also called as a record, okay, which represents the information about the particular person or particular thing. Okay, and it is what? Horizontal representation of the data. Okay, this row is a horizontal representation of the data. Got it? Now next one is, what is field or column? What do you mean by field or column? So field is also called as a column, and column is also called as an attribute. Okay, so field, column and attribute, these are the three common name which is used to define the vertical representation of the data. A table consists of information which is stored under different headings, correct, and called as field or column. Columns are shown vertically, right, like in rows. The horizontal representation is called as a row. Similarly, the vertical representation is called as a column, where each column is having its own heading. See, here the heading is roll number, here the heading is student name, the column heading is address, and the column heading is age. So every field or every column has its individual name. So two columns cannot have the same name. Like here, two columns, you cannot give roll number to two columns here, right? It is unique. The column headings are unique. So roll number, you can assign the roll number in one column only. Here student name, you can assign the student name heading to one column only, correct? So no duplication in field heading. Got it? Now in a table, each column is typically assigned a data type. As I already explained you that while assigning the column name, you are supposed to assign the heading, you are supposed to assign the data type of that table also, correct? So here each column is assigned a data type, right, and other constraints which determine the type of value that can be stored in that column. So the data type determines the type of data or type of value which is stored in the column. Okay, so this is the example. The following table student has 4 fields. See, there are 4 fields, right, or you can see the attributes named as roll number, student name, address and age. This is called as a field, and this is the field heading, and the data type is number. Why? Because we are going to store only numbers in this field. If you try to assign any character here, if you try to assign any alphabet here, then it will pop up an error message. Why? Because the data type is number and you are assigning what? Alphabet, which is not a number, correct? So it will display an error message, it will pop up an error message. Got it? Now what are keys? What do you mean by keys? So keys plays an important role in relational database. Okay, as you can store multiple tables in one database, right? And in our database management system or in relational database management system, you are storing the tables which are related to each other. So there is a relationship between these tables, right? So the keys plays an important role to create the relationship. Okay, it is used for identifying unique rows from table. Okay, it also establishes the relationship amongst table. For example, there are 2 types of keys which are used to create the relationship. First one is primary key and second one is foreign key. What do you mean by primary key? Primary key is a group of 1 or more columns. You can assign the primary key to one column only, or you can assign the primary key to one or more columns, okay, or combination of the columns used to uniquely identify each row of a relation. Okay, here relation means table. So it is used to assign or used to uniquely identify, used to give the identification, unique identification to each row, okay, of the relation is called as a primary key. It cannot be duplicate. If you are assigning a primary key to a particular column, that means you cannot duplicate the record in that. Okay, you cannot assign 2 roll numbers like roll number 1 to 2 students, meaning the same value should not appear more than once in a table. That means in one column 2 fields in one column 2 values are not same. You cannot assign two similar value to in one column. Okay, so a table can have more than one primary key. For example, see, this is one example. This is a table student detail and this is another table student marks. So in student detail, if you are assigning roll number as a primary key, then in this table you cannot assign roll number 1 to another field. Okay, like you are assigning roll number 1 to Ajit, you cannot assign roll number 1 to Rahul also. Why? Because you are assigned the primary key to this roll number. That means this is the unique field. You cannot duplicate the record in this field. If you try to duplicate the record, if you try to copy the record, then it will pop up an error message. Okay. So primary keys are what? The primary keys are the unique keys which are used to identify each row in a table. Got it? It cannot be duplicated. You cannot make similar data. You cannot insert similar data in one field. Meaning the same value should not appear more than once in a table. A table can have more than one primary key. So you can create composite primary key as well. Okay. Now what is foreign key? A foreign key is a field. It is a field, or you can say a column. A foreign key is a column. It is a column or collection of fields. Means you can again create the combination of fields as a foreign key. Okay, in one table that refer to the primary key in another table. If you are assigning a primary key to one table, and if you are using that primary key in another table, then there in second table it referred as the foreign key. Foreign key are the column of the table which is used to point out the primary key in another table. For example, see here, if you are assigning primary key in roll number in one table, student detail, right, and in another table, student marks, which is related with each other. See, there is a relationship between these two tables. If there is a relationship between these two tables and you are assigning primary key to this roll number and you are assigning roll number in this marks also, so here this roll number will is refer as the foreign key. Okay, so this roll number is what? Foreign key here. Got it? So there are two tables which are related with each other. There is a relationship between these two tables, and here if you are assigning roll number as a primary key, here roll number will work as a foreign key. Okay, so it will point out, this roll number will point out to the roll number of the student detail. Why? Because these are related with each other. The following table student has, So what do you mean by foreign key? A foreign key is the column or the combination of the column, okay, in a table which is used to point to the primary key of the another table, and it is a column in one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Got it? If you are assigning a primary key to one table, then in the another table the same roll number is used or is work as a foreign key. So it refers as a foreign key. Here the roll number refers as a foreign key, and here the roll number refers as a primary key. Got it? So today we have learned about Rdbms. What do you mean by Rdbms? Rdbms stands for Relational Database Management System. In Relational Database Management System, it is a collection of interrelated data. So you can store multiple tables which are related to each other. That means there is a relationship between the tables. Okay, in one database you can store multiple tables which are related to each other, and what type of data you are going to store in that, which are interrelated with each other. Okay, so data inserted in those table are related with each other. Okay, and Relational Database Management System, Rdbms, is a database management system that is based on the relational model. Okay, what is relational model? There are components of relational model. First is table, record, field and keys. Okay, what do you mean by table? A table is what? It is a collection of columns and rows, correct? So this table is basically collection of related data entries, and it consists of numerous columns and rows. A data in a relation Rdbms is stored in a database object. That object is called as a table, where you are going to store the data, okay, in Rdbms. So that object is called as a table. A database consists of one or more tables according to which data is stored in that table. Okay, so database designer decides the name of the table as well as the title of the column. Okay, so whenever you are creating a table by using create table command, so there is a name assigned there only. Okay, so create table, after that you are assigning a name of the table. For example, create table student. Okay, create table student, and then in bracket you are going to assign the field name, that is roll number. See one example, I'll show you one example. Wait, now see this example. Create table is a command which is used to create the table, right? And student is the name of the table. This is the name of the table which I am going to create. Okay, and this is the field name. Okay, so user are supposed to define the table name and field name. User is going to decide the table name and field name. So the table name is student and the roll number is the field name. Okay, roll number, student name, address, age, these are the field names, correct? And the data type are, for roll number the data type is integer because we are going to assign the numbers in this. Then in student name the data type is text because we are going to assign the alphabets in this, we are going to store the alphabets in this. Address is again the text type because we are going to assign alphanumeric data here. So in text you can assign alphanumeric data, you can store alphanumeric data. In age again the integer value because age you are going to enter in integer in number format. So these are the field which you are supposed to decide. The name of the field you are supposed to decide. So these are the table heading: roll number, student name, address and age. These are the table heading. Okay, see this table. This is the student table where roll number, student name, address and age. We have decided the name here: roll number, student name, address and age. This is decided by the user. And the data type, the type of data, what type of data you are going to insert here. Here you are going to insert the number. So the data type for this number is integer. So you are going to assign the data type for this is integer. Okay, again in student name you are going to assign the alphabets, right? So the data type for this is text. In address again alphanumeric. So here again text type of data you are going to insert. And for age you are going to insert the numbers. So that is integer type of data. Got it? Now next one is, what is row? Row means what? Row is also known as record. It is the horizontal representation of the data. Okay, the horizontal representation of the data is called as a row or record, or you can say the tuple. It is also known as a tuple. For example, the following row is a record that we have taken from the above table. See, these are the row records. Okay, the first row represents the record of roll number 1, the second row represents the record of roll number 2, third row represents the record of roll number 3, and fourth row represents the record of roll number 4. So these are called as record. Okay, this is the first record, this is another record, this is third record, and this is the fourth record. Next one is, what is field? The field is what? The vertical representation of data is called as a field. Okay, and columns are shown vertically in a table. Each field of the column has an individual name, right, which is decided by the user while creating the table. Two columns cannot have the same name, as I already explained you that two columns cannot be the same. Okay, in a table each column is typically assigned a data type and other constants which determine the type of value that can be stored in that column. Now this is one column, the heading of this column is roll number and the data type which is assigned is number or integer here, right? Second column, third column, fourth column, second heading, third heading of column heading and fourth column heading. Got it? Now what are keys? Keys plays an important role in relational database. It is used for identification. Okay, it is used for identifying the unique, it is used to give the unique identification to the row. Okay, for the table, it also establishes relationship amongst table. It is also used to create the relationship amongst table. There are two types of keys. First one is primary key and another one is foreign key. The primary key is a group of one or more columns. It is a you can assign the primary key to more than one column. To uniquely identify each row of a relation is called as its primary key. It cannot be the duplicate, it cannot be a duplicate. Okay, meaning the same value should not appear more than once in a table. The table can have more than one primary key. Foreign key means it is a field or column in one table that refers to the primary key in another table. Okay, if you are assigning a primary key in one table and if you are using the same field name in another table which is related to the previous table, so there in second table that field is refer as the foreign key. Okay, so foreign key are the column of the table which is used to point to the primary key of another table. For example, this is the example. There are two tables, student details and student marks. In student detail, the field names are roll number, student name, address and age. In student marks, the field names are roll number, exam and marks. And these two columns, these two tables are related with each other. There is a relationship between these two tables. We have created a relationship between these two tables by using the roll number field. Okay, so this field, roll number field, is a unique key in this. You cannot repeat this key because you have assigned it as a primary key. So roll number is assigned a primary key. That's why you cannot repeat the roll number or you cannot insert the same data in this roll number field. That means you can assign roll number 1 to one person only. You cannot assign roll number 1 to 2 or more than one person. Okay. Now, here in student marks, the roll number will refer as the foreign key because you have linked these two tables with each other, and roll number is common in these two tables where the roll number is as a working as a primary key in this student detail. So it will work in student mark as a foreign key. I hope you have understood these concepts. Now in next lecture I am going to explain you how to create the relationship between two tables, as we have already created tables in database, right? We have created the database, we have created the tables, we have inserted the records in the table. Now in next lecture inshallah we are going to see how to link two tables with each other, how to create the relationship between these two tables, and we will see how to assign the primary key and how it work as a foreign key in another table which are related to the main table. Okay, so we are stopping here. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.